What's going on, guys? Construe Customs back with another video. It's been a while, but we have some new things that have been developing for us. One of them, as you can see, our original Eastwood welder is missing, and we have a new welder from Primeweld in this box. So in this video, we're going to be unboxing this. I'm going to be showing you guys some of its features. We're going to talk about the pros of this welder versus the Eastwood welder that we had, and I'm going to show you how to get it set up. That way we could tackle some more projects that are coming our way. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we got our owner's manual, which if you've never owned a TIG welder before, you might want to actually look into this. It'll help you with setting it up, and just a few things to note with the basic usage of the welder. And wow, this is really nice how they packaged this. Actually, let me show you guys up close. Top part had plastic tabs. Inside there we have little metal tabs to keep the corners nice and sturdy, so the welder, well, you can't see it on this side, but that's the other part of the shell, the foam insulation shell for the welder that keeps it safe. Dang, they really put some time and care into packaging this thing. So go ahead and take this out. And those are the other metal tabs. We're actually going to keep these. We could probably use these in some welding project that we'll have going on. You start welding all different types of things, like, I don't know, you just don't throw metal away at all. All right, so we'll keep those. Those may come in handy at some point for something. And the box itself is pretty thick and sturdy as well. Like, the packaging job on this welder was really, really good. Like, look at how snug this fits. Like, that's crazy. Obviously before the back, but yeah. So let's get this out of this foam down here. Now I'll do a close-up of the welder. You can see it's got a lot of functions on it. Way more than what we had with the Eastwood. Now the Eastwood welder was a great welder, don't get me wrong. That was my first welder. I did a lot of stuff with it. I learned a lot of things with it. I had been looking at this welder for a really long time, and yeah, they had a sale going on, and I honestly couldn't pass it up because of the features that it has, the cool capabilities that it has. This is the back of it. Is where we could plug in our 110 so we could connect to our regular wall outlet, because I don't have a 240 outlet in this garage. This is where our argon is going to connect. This is our on-off switch, and I'm just showing you the back now because when we get it set up on there, obviously when I plug the argon from our regulator into the back of the machine, you're probably not going to be able to see that, but this is really important for the setup portion. So yeah. Wow, it fits perfectly there. And then we're gonna go through our accessories, all the important stuff that we need in order to make this thing function properly. So for our first thing, it comes with the shield, which you probably won't really use, but, and I think this is like a regular 10 lens. It could come in handy. I still have the old one actually from the Eastwood, because the Eastwood came with one as well. It's gonna come with a wire brush with a hammer on it. This is mostly gonna be used if you're stick welding something, which this welder is capable of stick welding, and I think it comes with a stinger as well. So this does come in handy. We're probably not going to be using it much for our purposes though. In this box, it comes with a regulator, a single flow regulator. So this is really nice. and it comes really like neatly packaged. We don't necessarily need this because we already have a dual flow argon regulator for our stainless, because we have to back purge stainless. So I'm just gonna put this to the side somewhere and get into more of the stuff that matters. Like this. This is our hose for the argon. So this goes into the back of the welder and is going to attach to one side of our regulator. That's going to actually feed our torch. So I'll put this on the machine for now. That's gonna come in handy for setup. All right, so the next thing that we got, and one of the reasons I was super excited about getting this machine, is because of the style of the foot pedal. So if you have like, if you've seen the Eastwood machine that I had, like you're always like chasing the foot pedal around, like while you're welding, it's like skating on the ground and moving away from you every time, like, and you have to like try to drag it back with your feet. It's really annoying. This already has like a rubber pad on the bottom. It's got grip tape on this, like a skateboard, so that's really cool. Only qualm I have with this is the Eastwood pedal had a voltage control on the side. So you could actually set, let's say you're working with 110, you want 110 on the machine, and let's say you only need about 50 amps or whatever on the actual part. You can turn the foot pedal to 50. So your max, like if you go all the way down, that'll be 50 versus going to 110 because like you accidentally pushed a little too far. It's kind of like a fail safe. So I do like that about the Eastwood pedal over this one, but we'll set this up and then see how it works. We have our ground clamp, which is technically the power clamp, but which this is nice. It is kind of like thin stamped metal, stamped steel here. So depending on what you're working on and over time, these sometimes do start to bend. And it's got a, instead of just one flat piece of steel, like how this welder has, one flat piece of, or not steel, copper, one flat piece of copper inside of there. This actually has a braided piece of copper, which is nice. I will say though, over time, because the Eastwood welder had the same thing, over time from moving this around and things like just wear and tear, this copper does tend to slip out of here. Or if you're putting it around like round objects that it fits perfectly on, you can start to push this copper out. So if you do have a clamp like this, I would say always check your screws and stuff to make sure that you're just getting a good ground. But you could always upgrade the clamp. I personally, I like using this one for everything. But they have other ways where you can upgrade your ground clamp too. So put that to the side. And another cool feature of this machine that we probably won't really be using, but it's good to have, is a stinger for stick welding. So you put your rod, the back end of your rod inside of there, you can stick weld with it. That's where this kind of comes in handy, because you can like hold this like this and stick weld, because you don't really need both hands like how you do with TIG welding. So that's cool for like quick shit. I don't know, depending on what you have going on. This is gonna go to the side because 9 times out of 10 we're not really gonna be using this, but it's always good to have. So we'll set that up to the side now, and that's that. Second round of accessories or parts for the welder. One of the best parts, the best part as far as accessories go. It comes with a CK Worldwide torch, standard with the welder. Whereas the Eastwood welder that I got, it came with their own brand of torch, which was cool. Like it came with a torch, that's nice. But I will say, like, if you go to your local welding supply stores and stuff like that, it's hard to find stuff that matches the Eastwood torch. Like everything that I ordered for the Eastwood torch, I had to get off Amazon or find something online that would fit, because the threads would be a little bit different. It's not like CK stuff, which CK stuff isn't super expensive. And if you need something right away, like let's say I just broke like one of my gas lenses or something, or let's say like I dropped it and one of my ceramic cups broke and I really need it for a project. Like, granted, I'm not doing it on the weekend. I could just run to my local welding supply store, and just buy one. Whereas with the Eastwood one, I'd have to wait, order off Amazon, stop my project or whatever if I didn't already have extras, you know? So there's that. But let's open this thing. Oh man, this is nice. And it's a flex head. It's a 17 flex head. It comes with its own DINS connector already. I will say the interesting thing about this is the gas and the actual connector are on different areas, whereas the Eastwood, it was all one port. So that was also kind of a plus because I didn't have to try to keep up with two hoses, one coming out of the machine, one actually going to the torch. But hey, it is what it is. It comes with the CK Worldwide torch. You don't have to go buy one. I had to buy one when I had the Eastwood welder, and let me tell you, it was kind of expensive. Just for the torch itself was like, I think I paid like $150 or something, and just for the DINS connector was like another $116. So that was like $2 something right there just to upgrade the torch to be able to use better consumables like the Furic gas lens kit, which really came in handy and changed like my stainless steel game, especially with doing manifolds. And then if you're gonna get into titanium, like you need hella argon coverage. So a gas lens kit comes in handy, but you wanna make sure that it's going to fit the torch that you're using. Another good plus is this is a flex head. So you can flex it, you can get into areas, you can walk the cup a lot easier. The Eastwood one doesn't come with a flex head. It's definitely a fixed head. So this is actually really cool that this comes, and it's a genuine CK Worldwide torch for the price of what this welder is from factory. That's really nice. We're gonna go ahead and put this back in here for now and just set it to the side. It comes with some consumables, like the standard consumables that you would have. It comes with a gray 3/32 tungsten, a couple of standard diffusers, a couple cups. Like, all right, that's cool. We actually already have a lot of cups, but it's nice that it comes with that, because if you're just starting out, you're gonna wanna unpack this thing and get to like tigging on something. So at least you have like a basis of where to start. Another thing that's nice about this, which the Eastwood welder did come with, is a trigger for the torch itself. So this basically attaches to the torch like that. You can use zip ties to attach it and run this down in there and get like shielding for it. But basically, if you don't want to use the foot pedal, or let's say you're in a spot where you can't use the foot pedal, you attach this to your torch, you connect this where the foot pedal would go on the machine, and this will allow you to have control of the torch from the torch itself. They do sell, I believe, adjustable or variable ones that kind of work like the foot pedal, where the more pressure you give it, the more amperage you're getting. However, these are just like on-off switches. So if you're set at the max, as soon as you click that on, you're gonna have maximum power coming out of that tungsten. And even if you dial it down, you're only gonna have that amount of power. So this is just an on-off switch for it, but it does come in handy for really like hard to reach spots. I've had to use it before working on a caged car, and when I had the Eastwood welder, I had to use it working on a caged car, and yeah, it was kind of a lifesaver. So I'm just gonna pack this up and also put this to the side because we don't need it right now either. And this bad boy. This is super important. This is our 240 to 110 connector. We are working with an inverter machine, so you don't necessarily need 240 volts outlet to use it. But since we're going to be working off of a 110, the maximum that this machine will do is 110 volts, which can be somewhat of a drawback. There may be certain projects that you're working on where you need more heat, you need more amperage to get the part to actually mend like you want it to, or like to wet that puddle in. You may be working on thicker material, especially if you want to do like 1/4 inch stuff, 1/4 inch stainless, 1/4 inch aluminum. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of power. So being limited to 110 does kind of suck, but hey, at least we could get some shit done. We could do exhaust, we could do intercooler piping. I have been able to do manifolds with the 110, so it definitely comes in handy. And it opens you up to being able to, like, if you're just going to go to a friend's house or you're doing something mobile and all you have is like a 110 outlet to work off of, at least you could take your welder anywhere and not need a fucking dryer outlet. So this is really important. This is what we're going to be using, and we're going to go ahead and get into the setup, because that was our last box of accessories. All right, guys, so in this portion, we're gonna go ahead and do the setup. I'm gonna show you guys how to get it connected to your tank and the regulator, power cable, all the accessories that we just went through, setting up the torch and stuff. We may do a couple arc shots depending on how much time we have. After we do the setup, we're gonna talk about the machine itself and get into some of its features. So without further ado, let's get the setup done. Okay, so the first thing we wanna do is go ahead and wrap our brass pieces with some Teflon. This is going to be the hose that goes from the back of the machine, the area that I was showing you guys earlier. It's going to go from there to the argon regulator, and we want to make sure that the way that we're doing it isn't going to pull the Teflon, or basically like work against the Teflon when we go to screw it into the machine. So whenever you're applying Teflon, definitely look at the direction. Okay, so this is our dual argon regulator. This side is for the welder, this side is for back purging, but we have our Teflon in there. We're just gonna go ahead and get that snug by hand first, and then we're going to take this side and go to the back of the machine where I was showing you guys at the beginning of the video. And then I'm gonna use a wrench and go ahead and tighten it. You don't wanna make it too tight, just snug enough. You don't wanna damage your welder. You don't wanna damage any of your accessories or components. So just tight enough so you know it's not going anywhere. And then I also don't wanna push the machine so far back up against the wall that it pinches that hose or puts pressure on that hose at an angle to where the hose can eventually like get damaged. Then we're gonna do the same thing up here. A lot of you probably saw that tank move. I do have a chain and I'm going to attach the chain to this thing. I just haven't done it yet because I just reorganized the entire garage. So I don't wanna hear anybody in the YouTube comments talking about oh, the chain needs to be, the tank needs to be chained down, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know, I have a chain, I'm gonna put it on there. All right, so we got that connected. So we're good on the argon side. Next thing we're going to connect is our power cable. So we could go from the 240 to the 110. Take the protector off. Go ahead and undo the tie. Plug this in here. Make sure it's nice and tight. Unravel it, and I'm going to pass it through here, and just to kind of make sure it's out of the way, bring it this way to this side of the toolbox, and then we could plug it into the wall. Bam. All right, so we got that connected. Now before we turn the welder on, I'm gonna connect everything else. I don't want power going to it while we're connecting those things. I'm actually gonna unplug it again from the wall, just to be safe. It's always better to be safe than sorry. I'm not gonna use this one because I actually really like the other clamp better. But you know what, I'm gonna use it for the setup because it did come with this machine. So I just really have a preference for the other style better. So this is gonna go on our positive side, and if you look, these connectors have a lobe on them, and they can only go in one way. So it goes in like that, and then you just twist it and it locks. You don't need to turn it hella tight to break it or anything, just enough. You'll know when it's actually in there. Connect that to the table. Get the Teflon out of the way for now. We'll go ahead and connect our foot pedal, which this we actually probably don't really need to unravel. Put this down at the bottom here. We'll unravel one side. I don't like a lot of the cables just all over the place, so if I don't have to unravel it a lot, I won't. I'll leave most of it together. And this also only goes in one way. So you can see here, it's got a little notch on it, and that's gonna plug, oh, other way, side down like that. On the Eastwood welder, it was actually right side up. So plug that in there, and then you just give this screw a turn till it's nice and snug. Cool, now we have our foot pedal control. We have our foot pedal right down there where we're gonna be seated. Push that back. Cool. Don't want a lot of cables all over the place, so I definitely want to try and keep things as neat as possible. Less things to have to work around, less chances of a hot part touching a cable while you're maneuvering it. Now we're gonna get our torch connected. And like I said, with this one, it's really different compared to the Eastwood. The Eastwood had one spot where it connected, and this also has a cam lobe on the DINS connector. That's what this thing is called. Just go ahead and put that in like that. Now that's nice and tight. And for the argon, it's going to go through a completely separate hose, which I wonder if I can get it to only come out of one. I don't know, I have to do some research on that, so I don't need the second hose. But we'll put some Teflon on here. And go ahead and screw that into there. We're gonna do the same thing, take our wrench, snug it down. Boom. All right guys, so that's it for this video. We unboxed it. We went over the accessories that came with the machine. We got our setup, our argon, our TIG torch, our foot pedal, and our grounding clamp. In the next video, we'll set up our TIG torch, tack a couple stainless pieces, and talk about the machine's functionality. So I'll see you on the next one.